Jack Spidell off the end line. This is a big difference. The last few games, Jack Spidell's been short-sticked. He's been long-sticked. Let's see what Harvard goes with here to start the game with Spidell, who is one of our players to watch.
Downhill for Ip. Going to his right hand, cycle it back out. Harvard is second in the country in shooting percentage. So what does that mean? It means they're taking and making great shots. They're 0 for their first 2 here today. But Adam, you're already watching here some discipline. They're not just taking any shot. They know they're going to get a better one.
That's another great point. On this possession, you see the long stick bouncing from...
And there's the goal. Sam King goes top right 90. Right off the goal line extended, and it's a 1-0 lead.
If you've seen Sam King play it all this year, even for 10 seconds, if you see one of his goals, this is his move. He pushes hard, he takes that little bounce step out to make the defender have to chase, and there you go. You see the...
Graham Stevens is just a big body, 56 in white in cage. If I'm a Yale attackman, does it just look intimidating the way he takes up space?
The last few weeks, to be honest with you, the shooters went low on him from distance and they made the big man move. That was some of the success that Marquette had in Michigan. So we'll see. He's a giant in the cage. You can see it. He takes it all. It's eclipsing the sun if you get inside that crease. So it's going to be a really interesting game for the 5-star.
Another loose ball, won by Arndt in transition. Pretty clean clear for Harvard. Ray Dearth triggers the offense. He'll check off when he gets an opportunity. Logan Ip racing back on here, 3 in white. Downhill Malone. Feeds. Goal line. It's 2-0. That's Spidell wrapping from X.
The sophomore from Long Island, that's a left-handed goal. He's right-handed. Spidell keeps showing the opposition and putting film together that makes him tough to deal with. You see that great finish? Kind of through recruiting, through depth on the roster, but it's also something that they've kind of been dealing with on and off for a season or two, like we talked about in the pregame. That's why they're riding and clearing, and their special teams are so excellent.
Ip to his left hand, went back to his right, misses wide, and it will be backed up by Yale. Yeah, there are ways to deal with struggling at the face-off X. We saw that at Division II last year. Adelphi won a national championship without a face-off guy, but you'd like to not have to be in that position.
And we talked about it also, the new face-off rules. You have to carry 2 or 3 face-off guys with the new...
Fast break, King, yes! Off the cause turnover. If the face-off is a problem, you got to find other ways to get possessions. Good ride, good transition. Sam King has his second.
And Sam King with the assist from Jack Spidell. We're saying his name all over. Whoever chose him as the player of the game knew what they were doing. But Sam King...
Stevens is a stone wall. Had to whip his head around and take one right in front of him. Still 3-0.
That was a great play right off the switch. You saw Martin Nelson got hung up on the slot, on the pick there. Great job by the Yale offense, but Graham Stevens right where he should be, and made this broadcaster bite his lip a little bit. They shot high to low, and there he was, made the save.
Perry completes the clear for Harvard. Malone, King, and Spidell, that first unit of attack. Dodge downhill on the doorstep. That rattles through! Off the ankles, Joe Dowling, the senior attackman.
Joe Dowling has had a great last 2 weeks. We didn't see him much to start the season for the Crimson. He played on the extra man the last few years. The lefty from Deerfield with a ton of box lacrosse experience has been nothing but really, really hot with the opportunities he gets. You can see he hits the goalie, he dribbles through. Lots of it down. The officials have done a terrific job of not asserting themselves into the game. We're already past halfway of the first quarter, and the action is fast and furious.
And the first thing to get thrown is a stick, not a flag. Got a semi-yard sale as Andrew Glinsky has to pick that up and run off. 4-0 lead for the Crimson in a series dominated by Yale lately. They've won 7 out of the last 10. This is the 106th meeting all time. Ip tried to go to his left hand. Good recognition by Yale defensively. Malone wraps around, rips low and scores. Everything's going in for the Crimson.
Coach Hutchinson and Coach Byrne are really dialed in, and so is this Harvard offense right now. Malone's drawing his short stick for the second possession of this first quarter, so you know exactly.
What's the ride like for Harvard? Why is it difficult?
I think it's difficult because the attackmen chase so recklessly, and all three poles for the back line of Harvard are athletic and IQ. They can jump up, and anyone can send pressure to the ball. I think that's really tough to scout and prepare for.
Make some changes here as Francisco Cortez, 55 and white, runs into the offense. Works with Ip on the midfield line. They've got Andrew Perry as well.
Here you see without Alexander, they're back to the classic three-pole on the three attackmen for Yale.
Malone, just a rocket from outside. There is nothing stopping Harvard's offense. It's 6-0, his second.
You see the great downhill alley dodge to the skip pass to Malone. He shoots it through the defender, but great dodge here. Cortez gets down, draws the slide. The Yale defense has to react, and you can kind of see.
When was the last time you would have seen a face-off one in the corner?
It's been a long time, but you see the programs both struggling, so they're going to lean into identity, toughness. If you can't pick it up, don't let the other team pick it up. I think that's what we saw there. Sam King just chasing into the corner, and it's a tough play to make, but you see the effort is there. All these young men are doing the best they can, working as hard as they can for their programs.
Yale needs something to go right. 0 for 7 right now.
They go from a 3-3 to an empty set here on the extra. They got to pull a crease in at some point.
And they do score. On the goal line, Leo Johnson, sharp-angled shot, and it cuts the deficit to 5.
You don't need someone on the crease if you have Leo Johnson who can drop the stick and go low to high on the near side to a giant in the goal, and that is exactly what Yale needed. You see the ball, they spin out of the 3-3, they play with an empty crease, and the ball just gets to Johnson. You knew he knew what he was doing. He knew the slide was coming.
Which is off instead, and Yale wisely slows things down. Johnson. Forced by Nelson to his right. And we'll wait for new midfielders. Nice move by Krevsky, coming back to his right. Nearly flung it away behind the goal. Kribe wants it, bottom of your screen, 7 in blue. They'll never throw it to him because they'll take the goal up top. Chris Lyons.
That's a great move by Chris Lyons. The senior from Medford, New Jersey, Shawnee High School, really has the experience, the ability, and the prowess. You can see he's not in a rush with the ball dodging. He kind of knows what he can do and what he's going to do. And he's got a short stick. That's Owen Guest, another 5-star out of high school. But Lyons goes to his left hand.
So a minute to work with. And a minute on the shot clock.
So let's talk mental warfare. The first start of the game, Jack Stuzen had white tape on his ankle. He must have heard us talking about it because now he's taped up with dark tape. Maybe no one will know, but here he is out there playing on the edge again, covering Sam King. This is the highlight matchup for Yale. This is the one we were expecting. It's going to be a good one here with just under 40 seconds left in the first quarter.
Owen Gaffney was tugging on his wrist. I don't know if it was a clock communication or if it was a play call. Gaffney up top now for Malone. Couple of goals already for Malone. Looks on the goal line. That's King. He has a hat trick in the first.
Wow. Coach Hutchinson going into the bag here. King's at point behind X. Malone is at point up top. We call that Y. And you can see Yale is trying to figure out where to put the poles. Where to put the poles. And you can see Sam King just charges above the GLE. Jack Stuzen not really with him, and those two are very familiar with each other from high years and a half of playing every second to 5-star. His career is off to a great start.
Arndt throws it up top. Botkiss whips wide. Backed up uncontestedly by Malone.
Had a great talk with Miles Botkiss out on the walk to the stadium. We were talking about alum Hanny Malone and the internship they had this summer. Hanny is a heart surgeon and Bacchus spent some time with him this summer.
Wrapping around, nice little flip for a goal by Arndt.
Wow, that's a great move by the Michigan native. The strong right-handed Dodger pushes with that left hand. So from that side, it's either a question mark or it's that tuck behind that the Thompson brothers made so famous a few years ago, and that's exactly what happened. You can see there's your hesitation to stop the short stick covering him. He goes left hand to his right hand. That's really the only thing he can do. Great placement in the goal.
And yet still had a decent season. But amongst those injuries, Leo Johnson, who scored today, and Chris Lyons, who has scored twice today. Both of them missed the entire year. Takes a little bit of time to get your sea legs back, to play real games against real competition. This is still just the 5th game of the year for Yale.
I think that's something that Owen Gaffney is also experiencing after missing all of last season for Harvard as well.
Moynihan trying to get to his right, and he scores! Yale making a run here in the second. It's a 4-goal game.
Here you see Peter Moynihan running right across the face of the goal. So he's moving the goalkeeper from his strength of right to his left. And then there's a little action in front of the cage. That pick to free his hands up. And he just beats the goalie off hip, which is where you're supposed to shoot the ball, especially with the
shot never made it to cage. Loose ball is picked up. Yale's got to get out of here, though, against one of the best riding teams in the country. Face-off man still out there. Rodriguez working on the clear. Keim. And now here goes Yale on offense. Kravsky was a first-team All-Ivy performer a year ago. 48 in blue, works behind. Ripped shot. And that does indeed go in. Off the left side of Stevens, they've had a couple of really good looks. This is Johnny Keim's 5th of the year.
You see in some stretch shooting is kind of giving Stevens some difficulty. Keim with time and room, he's got to shorten his windup a little bit.
They wear these catapult things, for lack of a better word, at Harvard. They're sports performance measurement systems, right? They're these tracking devices that say how much effort you put into the game, how hard you're working, how far you're running. The attackmen win every game, Jerry Byrne told us. The ride is real. They get into it. It's not just about sitting there and hanging out and scoring goals.
No, they're hard working, all 3 of them. Once again, these are 5 stars. They put the work in. They know what work and earning and driving and wanting to compete and get better against the best is, and here we're seeing it.
Nice little shimmy shake to the left for Gaffney. And he gets a goal. You've wanted to see that for a while.
That's a huge goal for the senior from the West Coast. He's a right to left stretch shooter. He's got all the tools in his box. And you can see him, the split dodge right to left. He gets down the alley. It's a high-to-high blast. That's a great shot against a short stick. Owen Gaffney gets a short stick. You let him go where the ball is. And because usually when you move the ball, the defender looks away. So they're going to make that young man, that player, be accountable. And it's really creating some issues and giving them some opportunities on the switches.
And the penalty is released. 6'3" giant Jack Spidell trots in from the sideline, and we are now full strength. 6-on-6. Good move. On the goal line extended, Sam King again. He's going to take up residency there. Sharp angle hero.
Sam King, you can see he's so deliberate in his change of direction. All this game he's been going top side, top side, top side. So that's what Yale has to play to defend the most recent. But you can see he catches the ball, jams his right foot in the ground, and gets underneath Jack Stew's high school teammate and gets the shot on goal in the goal before 2 slides come. The senior from Baltimore is wearing his cape today. And that's really tough to do when you're Sam King. Really, anytime his hands are free, it's on cage.
Luke Mahalik picks the ground ball off the face-off wing. So Yale with an opportunity, down by 4. 4 minutes left to go here in the first half. Right out in front of the goal is 44, that's Chris Lyons. Sweep misses wide.
That's exactly how Moynihan scored his last goal, carrying across the face of the goal. And you can see Yale is trying to, maybe they're playing specific offense with specific pairings and personnel.
.40 on the shot clock. Why waste it? Yale puts another on the board. That's Leo Johnson wrapping around for his second.
Off the end line, usually you say if you're dodging off a dead ball or an end line, the defense should be set up. And he's got Martin Nelson covering him. So this is just best on best on best. You see Nelson gets caught with that pick. That's the second time that's happened to Martin Nelson on ball. Yale wasn't able to finish. Second quarter.
Ball checked free.
First on-ball turnover for the Harvard offense yet this game.
Nice stick skills by Christian Johnson in transition. Just reaching behind him to pluck that pass. And now here goes Yale, and again, a critical possession. 2 is just different than 3. You can make this a 2-goal game. It is a totally different vibe going into the locker room. Shot clock doesn't matter. 28 seconds left to go in the quarter. Lyons wanted to go to his right, moves to his right, sweeps low and scores. Yale is back within 2. Lyons with a first half hat trick. He equals his season total.
You can see on that dodge, Lyon is catches the ball deep, and you can see how loose his wrists and his hands are. He's being approached. He beats the on ball, and that over the head check, I'm sure he's going to be spoken to on the sideline for that.
There's just a different energy from Yale, though.
I agree. There's a different energy. This is one of those different games. And they went down early. They took a couple punches right to the face and right to the body that knocked them down, but not out.
It was almost a hapless Yale for the first quarter. They've got Harvard a little bit back on their heels.
Let's remember, Harvard's first 5 shots all went in.
King gets rid of it. Just a little flip over his back.
Also, the name we haven't said for Harvard in quite some time is Jack Spidell, who somehow knew that was coming. Wow, that was incredible. That's the first time that's ever happened to me.
Second goal for Jack Spidell. He was lurking.
I talked in the pregame about the importance of Spidell and the role that he can fill and can develop into. And you see, unfortunately for Yale, they leave.
This might be the most deliberate possession of the game.
18 seconds left on the shot clock. I'm sure they practice short time situations. We'll see what Yale does.
Like, I've not even thought about the shot clock today. .10 on the shot clock. Low to high, score! Leo Johnson.
That's his spot. He's about 2 or 3 yards above the GLE. He's got a nice angle that the righty Stevens has to not come across flat on his. He's got to get on an arc because he's got a lot of cage to protect. But Leo Johnson drops that stick and just lifts it right over Stevens' inside shoulder. That's a great shot.
It's that side, too, because on the other side, it was the far side that Johnson was taking it from.
You can see there, Johnson gets a cradle and a step. Martin Nelson just a second late, maybe 2 that time. Can't give that up to the lefty. That's a very difficult act.
Botkus in the same spot. Downhill Malone. Is part of that an adjustment that Yale has made on Sam King?
I think Sam King has struggled to hit the goal here in the third quarter because of the adjustment that they're making. But also, I think he's kind of surprised how open he's getting all of the time. He's getting his hands free every time he wants to.
10 on the shot clock. Ip. Looks for Spidell, flings it up top. King has a great look and scores!
Jack Spidell with another assist, and we just mentioned the quick hands of Sam King. What an opportunity for this Harvard offense. Ball spins through X. kicks out that backside. You see the skip pass. Right there, the senior from Baltimore, hands free. Defense is hesitant. Puts it high to high. Harvard's up 12-9. There's 10 opportunities for Harvard to go up and keep winning, keep staying on top. Yale just keeps making it a little tougher for themselves. Here we are with under 50 seconds left in the third.
You sit on this till the end?
Personally, yes, I would. Because you want to make sure you maximize it, and you do not want to give Chris Lyons or Leo Johnson an opportunity.
.30 seconds left in the third. Imp had to climb the ladder to get that. Perry pointing out the assignments. He's got Malone over the middle with Spidell. Dowling is high at the bottom of the screen. Perry, top of the screen, trickles a shot home. Hugh Conrad was on it, but the ball just kept on going. Harvard's lead is 4.
That Perry blast is huge for his confidence and for this Harvard offense. Been kind of a quiet quarter. Here we are with time running down.
Cortez. Rip King wide. We got Perry, Ip, and Cortez as the dominant midfield line today.
And Ip and Cortez have yet to take shots, I think.
Ip goes to the right and scores! Called out, makes it a 5-goal lead.
Logan Ip has spent the last few weeks and last few months developing that left hand. He had a bunch of stretch shots with the left hand last week, but here you see he goes hardcore to that right hand. Little split downhill. Beats the goalie high to low to the far side. That's a great shot.
The same way, you can impact so much, not just by putting the ball in the back of the cage.
On that midfield group, we've talked about Cortez being the thermometer. Perry is the hammer. It's Logan Ip that draws the slides. He's two-handed. He's the one that you got to kind of decide where you put the pole on.
12 minutes left to go in the game. The lead growing again, so now Yale's response time shrinking. They had this down to 2 at 11-9 and had 3 different chances to make it a 1-goal game. Lions. A lot of time with the ball in his stick, and he does find the cage. Response when it was most needed. Goes downstairs against Graham Stevens, and that is 4 goals for Chris Lyons. He came in with 3. Now granted, you expect him to score a lot. He's had to knock off some rust after missing a year. But welcome back for the Yale Bulldogs.
You have a senior on a upward and upward and upward. These games every week are going to be some of the best games on the national schedule.
Two minutes left to go. 4-goal lead, led by Sam King. I feel lied to. Andy Shea told us we just bake into the cake the fact that Sam King is going to have 6 points. He only has 5 today. How dare he?
Well, I think he is just so dialed in and so dependent. It's going to take a scheme and an individual on-ball defender, I think, to really throw the Sam King approach off for this Harvard offense the rest of the season.
Sharp does find the cage. Job's not done. The deficit is 3 for Yale, and you already said it. Bulldogs have the ability to win the faceoff.
That's a great dodge, and you can see how deep Brad Sharp gets before the slide shows up, and that's Yosta